Let's be real. No contact by itself is weak now. It used to work. It used to be a power move. But in today's world, it's not enough. Not when she's got 10 other guys lined up in her DMs the moment you disappear. You think you're creating mystery, but she's scrolling past you like you never existed. No contact without strategy is just silent rejection. If she walked away thinking she had the upper hand, silence won't shake her. In fact, most women expect it now. They've heard about no contact too. They've read the blogs, watched the TikToks. They know the game. And many of them are ready to wait it out just to prove they're the one in control. So if you're serious about turning the tables, if you're done playing Mr. Nice Ghost, you need to do more than vanish. You need to crush her ego, not with begging, not with shouting, but with silent dominance, with real calculated moves that make her question everything she thought she knew about you. This isn't about winning her back. Forget that. This is about flipping the dynamic, making her feel the absence of your attention like a burn, making her wonder who you've become while she was playing games. Because the man who truly gets to her isn't the one who disappears. It's the one who evolves while she's watching and says nothing. This guide will walk you through exactly what to do after no contact to make her ego crumble, not through chasing, not through fake indifference, but through power, strategy, and pure psychological precision. You ready to stop being forgotten? Good. Let's get into it. Before we start the video, I want to remind you that my exclusive online course on mastering the dating game is available now. If you've been learning from my YouTube videos, you're only scratching the surface. This course goes deeper, teaching you everything you need to know about the dating game, from approaching a woman to building real attraction. We just finished section 5 in the course, and you won't find this information on videos on my channel. It's easy to access with a secure payment option. Visit stoicapproachtolife.podia.com or click the link in the description to enroll now and improve your dating life. 1. Stay visible, but out of reach. You don't disappear completely. That's the mistake most men make with no contact. They go ghost thinking that silence alone is power. It's not. Silence with invisibility is weakness. It's forgettable. What really burns a woman's ego isn't that you're silent. It's that she still sees you, but can't get to you. You're active. You're moving. You're progressing. Just not towards her. Here's what this looks like. You post just enough for her to see you're doing well, but you don't overdo it. You're not flaunting your life like you're trying to prove a point. That's what desperate men do. You drop subtle proof that you've leveled up. One new look. One picture at a classy spot. One moment that shows peace, growth, or elevation. The trick is to make it seem like you're not even thinking about her while doing it. Now, what does this do to her? It creates pressure. It introduces uncertainty. She starts questioning everything. Was she that replaceable? Was she that unimportant? Did you level up because she left? Or were you always this man, and she failed to recognize it? That's how ego starts to crack. Not by her missing you, but by her realizing that her presence didn't stop your shine. In fact, her absence seems to have fueled it. Modern women are used to men falling apart after a breakup. She expects you to disappear, sulk, maybe post some sad quotes, or try to heal. That's not you. You're not disappearing into a hole. You're staying in the room but becoming untouchable. That's what shakes her. That's what makes her watch you in silence while pretending she doesn't care. But behind closed doors, it's messing with her, because ego isn't hurt when someone is gone. Ego is hurt when someone you thought would chase you stops showing need for you, yet stays in the spotlight. The very space she thought she owned is now being used by you to shine, and without her. It's not about being fake. You're not acting. You're becoming. You're upgrading your life, your habits, your mindset. She has to see a better version of you out there, without needing her to validate it. That's when she feels it. That's when she realizes she misjudged your value. And by then, it's too late to claim credit for the man you've become. This is how you control the narrative without saying a word. Stay visible, stay cold, stay untouchable. 2. Let her hear about you, not from you. There's a difference between presence and pursuit. Most men cross that line the moment they get emotional. After no contact, they either go completely silent and become irrelevant, or they break down and start reaching out. What you need to master is the power of indirect noise. She should be hearing about you, thinking about you, and wondering what's going on with you, without a single message from you. Women are wired to pay attention to energy shifts. If she used to be the center of your attention and now suddenly she's not, her ego doesn't just get curious, it gets triggered. But you don't feed that curiosity directly. You don't text her. You don't reply to her breadcrumbs. You don't even drop hints that you're thinking about her. Instead, you let your name circulate in the background of her world. This happens when mutual friends mention you casually, when your online presence suggests a change in your energy, when she hears from someone that you're out, you're focused, you're even seeing someone, or at least that you're not stuck on her. That's what stings. Because a woman's ego isn't wounded when you're silent. It's wounded when she realizes you're still alive in the world, just not in hers. And this is important. Don't confuse this tactic with playing games. You're not staging things. You're not manufacturing lies. You're simply letting your movements speak louder than words. When people naturally start talking about how you've shifted, grown, or even become distant from the guy you used to be, it creates a powerful ripple effect. It makes her feel like she's missing something she once had full access to. A woman with a big ego believes you'll always orbit around her. That's how most guys operate. They orbit even after the breakup. They linger, they watch, they hope. But you're not orbiting. You've stepped off that path, and your silence is louder because it isn't empty. It's filled with progress, with mystery, with power. Even if she reaches out, don't reward that contact too quickly. She has to sit in the tension a little longer. She has to stew in the fact that you're no longer her emotional puppet. You've cut the string, and now her ego is left without control. The man who can stay silent and relevant is rare. He's dangerous, because he doesn't need validation, and yet he commands attention. She won't admit it, but she's paying attention to you more now than when you were texting her every morning. Remember, it's not about proving anything to her. It's about becoming the kind of man that doesn't need to prove anything, because his presence is already being felt, even in his silence. 3. Elevate without explaining. After no contact, the most powerful move you can make isn't revenge, silence, or begging. It's elevation without explanation. You level up in a way that needs no announcement. You don't tell her what you're doing. You don't rub your success in her face. You don't try to make her jealous. You just rise and let her figure it out from a distance. This tactic works because it messes with her mind on a deeper level. Most women are used to men trying to prove their worth after a breakup. They're used to long emotional texts, indirect posts, or guys showing off with the clear intention of making her feel something. But the second she senses that you're doing it for her, the power disappears. That's not elevation, that's just emotional noise. What gets to her ego is this: you changed and you never mentioned her once. You improved and she had nothing to do with it. You became harder to reach, not because you wanted a reaction, but because you were too focused building something better. That's what cuts deep. She's no longer part of your growth story. In fact, your growth happened after she left. This is how you crush her ego without ever attacking it directly. You force her to realize that she wasn't the fuel behind your progress. She wasn't the reason you got stronger. And if she was hoping you'd crumble without her, now she has to sit with the fact that you actually rose. This doesn't mean you have to become rich overnight. It means you become sharper in every area. Your mindset, your appearance, your habits, your focus. You stop wasting time chasing validation and start investing it in things that build you. You stop talking about your plans and start executing them, quietly, consistently. The moment you stop explaining yourself, you become mysterious. And that mystery is what drives women crazy. She'll stalk your stories, dig through your mutual friends, ask questions without making it obvious. Why? Because she can't read you anymore. She doesn't know where she stands. And the woman who once felt in control now feels like she's locked out of a kingdom she thought she ruled. And here's the catch. When she does come back, and she likely will, she won't say, "You've changed." She'll test the waters, she'll act casual. She'll throw you light, playful messages. Don't fall for that. Don't lower your energy to explain where you've been. She doesn't deserve a breakdown of your journey. She deserves to wonder how she let this version of you go. This move doesn't just crush her ego. It buries it under the weight of your silence and your progress. You didn't just survive the breakup. You became unrecognizable after it. And that's the kind of shift no woman ever forgets. 4. Replace her without replacing her. Here's where most men get it wrong. After no contact, they try to replace the woman too fast. They post a new girl, start showing off some rebound relationship, or talk about how happy they are with someone else. That's weak. That screams overcompensation. The woman sees right through it, and instead of crushing her ego, you feed it. She believes she still controls you. She thinks you're only with someone new to make her jealous. And truthfully, in that case, she's right. The real move is more psychological. You don't go out and replace her. You simply make it look like her position is no longer needed. That's the game. That's what breaks her internal balance. You don't bring in another woman to fill the space. You make it clear that the space no longer exists. This is what that looks like in real life. You stop doing all the things you used to do for her, but you don't do them for someone else either. Instead, you redirect that energy to yourself, your goals, and your peace. You start looking fulfilled on your own, and the people around you can see the difference. You look lighter, not heavier, stronger, not distracted. This confuses her, because most women expect a man to fall apart after they leave, or they expect him to go out looking for a new emotional crutch. But when she sees that you're not chasing a replacement, and you're not clinging to anyone new, she starts wondering how she was ever that important. She sees you smiling, thriving, building, and she wasn't replaced. She was removed. Her ego can't handle that. Understand this clearly. Nothing wounds a woman's pride more than realizing you're better now without any woman at your side. Because deep down, her ego was built on the belief that she was the reason you smiled, the reason you were soft, the reason you cared. But now, you don't just look stronger, you look free. And freedom, for a man, is the most threatening thing to a woman who once thought she had emotional control over you. When she sees you no longer need female validation to be fulfilled, she realizes she wasn't special, she was temporary. And that realization hits harder than seeing you with someone else. Why? Because if you had another woman, she could blame the new girl. But if you have no one, and still look better than ever, she has to face the truth. It was never her that made you valuable. This tactic is subtle. It doesn't involve revenge. It doesn't involve games. It's pure control of your focus. You elevate by making peace your partner. She no longer has a role in your world, not even one that someone else is filling. And that silence around her absence becomes deafening. 5. Let her chase ghosts. When a woman with a big ego senses that you've pulled away, she doesn't always chase you directly. She plays it smart. She throws out signals. She tests the water, a story post, a like, a funny reel she sends at midnight. These are not innocent gestures. They're bait. She wants to see if you're still emotionally available. She wants to know if she still has access to you. This is when most men fail. They get excited. They take the bait. They respond. And just like that, she's back in control. But if you want to truly crush her ego, you let her chase shadows. You let her reach, hint, and throw signs. But you don't bite. You don't block her. You don't get bitter. You simply remain still, present but detached, calm but unreadable. She's fishing for a reaction, but all she gets is silence. No confirmation, no denial, just space. And that space starts to eat away at her confidence. Here's the psychology behind this. When a woman believes she still has emotional power over a man, she's relaxed. She's confident that she can return at any time. But when her attempts to poke at you go unanswered, her mind spins. She starts to overthink. Did he move on? Why didn't he react? Is he doing this to get me back, or is he really done? That confusion doesn't just disturb her, it humbles her. The most dangerous thing you can give a woman who expects your attention is nothing. Not anger, not coldness, not sarcasm, just stillness. She starts creating stories in her head, imagining things that aren't even happening. She becomes paranoid. She scrolls through your page looking for clues. She checks your last scene. She waits for updates. And all the while, you give her the same thing, nothing. Let her chase ghosts. Let her reach for the old version of you and find emptiness. Let her search for emotional patterns that no longer exist. That's what drives the ego mad. She doesn't just miss you, she misses who she was when she had access to you. That woman who felt adored, pursued, needed. But now she's left grasping at air. She sees the door she used to walk through wide open, but your presence is no longer behind it. Don't announce that you're done. Let her feel it in your absence. Don't try to show her you've moved on. Let her realize it when every attempt to connect hits a wall. This is how you flip the script without even speaking. She thought she could leave, play games, and return when ready. But now she's left chasing a man who no longer dances to her rhythm. And here's the final twist. She won't admit any of this. Not publicly, not even to you. But deep down, the ego that once laughed at your silence is now haunted by it. And you didn't have to block her, insult her, or expose her. You just became untouchable. 6. Become unrecognizable. There's no greater blow to a woman's ego than realizing the man she once knew no longer exists. That's not something you say to her. It's something she sees, something she feels, something that hits her when she least expects it. When you become unrecognizable, you don't just evolve. You disappear from the emotional identity she once attached herself to. You're not the same man who used to chase her, please her, explain himself, or beg for clarity. You've shed that version. And in doing so, you force her ego into crisis. This isn't about changing your haircut or hitting the gym, though physical upgrades help. This is deeper. This is about a mindset transformation. The man who once made decisions based on her reactions now moves with complete indifference. The man who used to overthink every word, every post, every silence, now operates on a level where her opinion holds no weight. That's the version of you that she can't handle, the version she didn't expect, the version that doesn't revolve around her. This kind of transformation doesn't come from pretending, it comes from rebuilding. You stop asking questions like, what went wrong? Or, how can I get her attention again? Instead, you start asking, what version of me am I avoiding becoming? You stop waiting for closure. You stop fantasizing about apologies. You focus on actual self-discipline, on cleaning up your routine, building your money, gaining clarity in your vision, and removing weak habits. That's what makes you unrecognizable. Not just improvement, but elevation with a purpose. So what happens when she comes across you again, whether in person, online, or through word of mouth, and she can't read you anymore? She panics. She tries to reconnect with the past version of you. She sends inside jokes, reminds you of memories, tries to bring back the same energy, but it doesn't land, because that man is gone. You're not cold, you're just unavailable. You're not angry, you're just detached. And that shift, that void of familiarity, it sends her ego into full collapse. Women rely on familiarity. If they can predict you, they feel secure in their control. But when you become a man she can no longer predict, she starts to spiral. She wonders if you were ever really that attached. She questions if she ever had true power. And she becomes obsessed with figuring out who you are now and how she lost the grip she once had. You want to crush her ego? Don't insult her. Don't chase her. Don't show off. Just become the man she can't recognize anymore, but can't stop watching. Let her feel the distance between the boy who once adored her and the man who's now unreachable. And when you do run into her, you don't need to act cold or smug. Just smile. Be kind. Be calm, but be gone. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you're somewhere she can't reach anymore. 7. Master the comeback energy. Every man who's ever walked away from a woman with a big ego knows the real test isn't the silence. It's what happens after the silence. When she circles back, when she shows interest again, When she flirts, reaches out, plays cool, or even acts like nothing happened? This is the moment where most men give their power away. They think her return means victory. They respond emotionally. They become available too quickly. And without realizing it, they reset the dynamic right back to where they started, under her control. But if you want to crush her ego in a way that leaves a permanent mark, you must master what I call the comeback energy. This isn't about being cold or rude. It's about being emotionally untouchable. It's about receiving her attention without needing it, entertaining her presence without being pulled into her orbit. That's the balance that breaks her ego. You see, when she comes back, she expects you to still feel something. She wants to believe she's still in your heart, your mind, your plans. Even if she doesn't want a full relationship, she wants the option of one. She wants to know that the door she walked out of is still open, so when she knocks and you don't open the same way, you force her to face a harsh truth. She no longer has access to you in the way she used to. That's what comeback energy is. It's the ability to look her in the eye, be calm, be pleasant, but not fold. You don't ask why she disappeared. You don't demand answers. You don't bring up the past. You just move like a man who no longer puts her on the throne, like someone who's been busy being built, not broken. Here's what happens when you hold this energy. Her ego gets confused. She thought her return would spark something in you. She thought you'd react the way you used to. But now you're centered, you're collected, you're clear. That version of you that was once eager and emotionally invested is gone. And the man in front of her now has options, direction, vision. He's not waiting for her approval. And that, more than anything else, shatters her pride. She might try to challenge you. She might say, "You've changed." That's your cue to smile and say, "I had to." Not to prove something to her, but because life demanded it. Let her realize you've outgrown the version of yourself that needed her. Let her know, without saying it, that she helped turn you into the man who now no longer chooses her. Mastering comeback energy doesn't just crush her ego, it exposes it, because for the first time, she sees that you didn't need her to become valuable. You became valuable in her absence, and now all she can do is watch from a distance. When you combine no contact with power, discipline, and transformation, you don't just make her miss you. You make her question everything she believed about you. You crush her ego without arguments, games, or revenge. You rise so high that your silence becomes louder than her words. And by the time she realizes what she lost, you've already outgrown the need to prove anything. This isn't about making her suffer. It's about becoming untouchable. You don't chase. You don't explain. You don't return to who you were. You just move forward like a man who finally remembered who he is. And remember, if you're serious about mastering the dating game, don't miss out on my exclusive online course. We go beyond what's covered in these videos, giving you powerful insights from the first approach to lasting attraction. It's easy to enroll with a secure payment option. Visit stoicapproachtolife.podia.com or simply click the link in the description to secure your spot. Don't wait until it's too late. Take action now and start transforming your dating life today. I want to especially appreciate you for taking your time to watch till the end of this video. I hope the video helps you improve every aspect of your relationship with women. Until next time, this is Stoic Approach to Life.